I want a divorce, all communication through my lawyer. My wife texted me after 12 years of marriage. I just texted back understood, then shut everything down. Days later, her lawyer was frantically calling me. Hey everyone! Before we jump into today's video, I need your help. We've noticed the channel is losing some traction, and subscribing is one of the best ways you can support us. It's quick, free, and it helps us keep bringing you awesome content. Your support means the world. Let's keep this channel growing together. Thanks so much. Now let's start the video. Sup Reddit. So I'm writing this from my garage workshop, where I've spent the last few nights focusing on a custom metal project instead of dwelling on how my life blew up by a single text message. After 12 years of marriage, you'd think I'd rate more than 15 words. Buckle up. Some context before I get into the nuclear blast that was last Tuesday. I'm 40 male, a certified welder with my own small business. Started as a pipeline welder at 22, putting in 80-hour weeks in North Dakota oil fields. Spent 5 winters in minus 30-degree conditions, living in worker housing that was basically glorified shipping containers. Most guys blew their money on trucks and bars. I saved every possible dollar. By 28, I had enough to put a down payment on a small commercial space and basic equipment. Spent weekends and evenings after my day job setting up shop, building client relationships, and creating a website. First year was brutal. Took every job, no matter how small. Built railings, repaired farm equipment, fabricated custom parts for local factories. Slept maybe 4 hours a night. Made just enough to keep the lights on. Third year, I landed a contract with a commercial developer who needed custom railings for all their properties. That contract paid for better equipment, which led to higher quality work, which brought better clients. 5 years ago, I quit the day job and went full-time with my own operation. Now have 3 employees, a 4,000 square foot shop, and cleared $110,000 last year after expenses. My wife Candace, 38 female, has a sister named Heather, 45 female, who's been divorced for about 8 years after her ex left her for a younger colleague. Since then, Heather's basically appointed herself as the neighborhood man-hater. She's got a cushy HR director job and spends most of her free time telling anyone who'll listen that men are the root of all evil. Especially me. Heather was subtle at first. 6 years back, Candace mentioned how Heather thought it was strange I handled our budget. Most couples make financial decisions together, Candace said casually over dinner. I reminded her she'd literally told me she hated dealing with numbers when we got married. 4 years ago, Candace started questioning purchases I made for the business. Heather says business expenses should be separate from personal finances. Had to explain again how cash flow works in a small business. Candace nodded but looked unconvinced. 3 years ago, we were at a family barbecue when Heather loudly asked if Candace had to get permission to buy a new dress. Candace laughed it off, but I noticed her shopping habits changed after that. Started hiding small purchases, removing price tags before I saw them. Tuesday afternoon, I was finishing up blueprints for a major commercial railing project when my phone buzzed. Candace had texted, "Ian, I want a divorce. Direct all future communication through my attorney, James Wilson. Contact information to follow." 12 years of marriage ended in a text shorter than most food delivery confirmations. No warning signs I'd noticed. We'd had dinner the night before. Made plans for a weekend BBQ. Everything seemed normal. Well, except for the massive blow-up we had on Sunday night. Candace had been spending more time with Heather lately. Sunday brunches, weeknight dinners, constant texting. Didn't think much of it until Sunday when I noticed our joint savings account was missing $5,000. "Why'd you transfer $5,000 without mentioning it?" I asked while she was scrolling Instagram. She barely looked up. "I don't need your permission for every financial move. It's a joint account. That's literally the definition of joint," I said. Then she dropped the bomb. "You're so controlling with money, Ian. Heather says you're financially abusive. You track every dollar I spend." I almost laughed. "I track our business finances and household budget because someone has to. You haven't looked at a bank statement in 3 years." "See? You're monitoring me," she yelled, before storming off to the guest room. I slept alone Sunday night, but by Tuesday morning she seemed normal, then nuked our marriage via text 6 hours later. I stared at the message for a solid 10 minutes. All the emotions were there. Rage, hurt, shock, but they were buried under this strange, cold clarity. She set the terms. Lawyers only. Fine. My phone rang. Casper, my buddy since high school and owner of a local construction company. "We still on for drinks tonight?" he asked. Rain check. Just got a text from Candace. Wants a divorce. Lawyers only. Silence. Then, "Jesus. You at the shop?" "Yeah. Stay there. Coming over." Casper showed up 20 minutes later, walked straight to my office, closed the door. What happened? He asked. No bullshit. I showed him the text. Effing cold, he said. Lawyers only, huh? You answer yet. Just understood. Smart. Listen, two things you need to do right freaking now. Casper leaned forward. First, call Sarah Martinez. She handled my cousin's divorce last year. Guy's wife tried taking him for everything. Sarah shut it down cold. Second, lock down your finances. Today. Now, if she's going lawyers first, she's planning something. Casper had been through his own divorce mess 5 years back, lost half his business to a wife who'd never set foot on a construction site. He'd learned the hard way. Then, practicality kicked in. Legal channels meant informal financial arrangements were instantly void. We'd kept our day-to-day finances mostly separate, something I learned from watching my dad get financially destroyed in his divorce when I was 16. She had her personal account. I had mine. The business was protected under an LLC that predated the marriage. Credit cards? Candace had authorized user cards on my accounts, not joint ownership. Logged into banking apps, found cards, canceled. Reported user no longer authorized. Done. Monthly transfers? I sent $2,500 monthly to her personal account since I earned about 4 times what she made from her part-time social media management hustle. Logged in, canceled recurring transfer effective immediately. Subscriptions? Netflix, Prime, etc. under my name. Logged out all devices. Changed passwords. She wants streaming? She buys it. Vehicle? The SUV she drives is leased in my name. On my insurance. Didn't cancel insurance immediately. Too risky legally. But flagged to discuss lease transfer with my lawyer ASAP. Gas card tied to a canceled credit card. Worthless now. Took maybe 45 minutes total. Not revenge. Just accepting the new reality she dictated. She drew the line. Lawyers only? Done. Lawyers work on formal agreements, not assumptions based on a marriage she just terminated. Casper nodded approvingly as I walked him through what I'd done. Good start. Now call Martinez. Her lawyer's info arrived via email an hour later. Forwarded it straight to Sarah Martinez, the attorney Casper recommended. Emailed Martinez. Received text demanding divorce. Lawyers only. Complied. Need immediate counsel on next steps. Asset protection. Advice retainer. Finished my client drawings. Went home. House was empty. She must have cleared out while I was working. Slept in my own bed for the first time in years. She always complained about my snoring. Slept better than expected. Fast forward 72 hours. Friday afternoon. Unknown number rings. Had a feeling who it might be. Is this Mr. Ian Sullivan? Sharp, impatient voice. This is James Wilson representing Candace Sullivan. My client is experiencing difficulties. Okay, I kept my voice even. Her cards are declined. Access to funds abruptly terminated. Highly irregular, Mr. Sullivan. Financial status quo should be maintained during separation proceedings. Mr. Wilson, I said calmly, your client texted Tuesday demanding divorce, stating all communication must go through you. I acknowledged and complied. Informal financial arrangements ceased. Future support requires formal legal discussion through you and my counsel, Sarah Martinez, whom I've retained. Pause. Papers shuffling. She needs funds now. Necessities. Lodging. He sounded genuinely surprised. Where is she? I asked. Not relevant. You've acted in bad faith by cutting her off without notice. Your client unilaterally ended our marriage via text and established the lawyers-only rule. She ended the status quo of trust and communication. Financial support will be determined legally, not by panic calls over declined cards. She wasn't the primary account holder. Longer pause. My client seeks emergency financial relief, he said stiffly. Her prerogative, I replied. Direct all filings to my attorney. You have her contact information. Yes, he clipped. Good. Conversation concluded, per my wife's directive. Hung up. She wanted cold and legal? She's getting exactly that. Waiting for Martinez's call. This is just the beginning. Casper texted, how'd it go with Martinez? I called him, explained the situation. Wilson's scrambling, Casper said. They expected you to keep paying while they positioned for maximum damage. Classic playbook. My ex tried the same shit. Stay the course. After hanging up, I forwarded Wilson's contact information to Martinez. She called within the hour. Sharp and to the point. Former prosecutor turned divorce attorney with a reputation for handling high-conflict cases. Asked pointed questions about finances, business, history. Your friend's right, she said when I mentioned Casper's advice. This has all the hallmarks of a prepared strategy, not an emotional decision. The text followed by immediate legal representation suggests planning. The lawyer's only demand is particularly telling, creates distance while positioning for emergency support claims. 1 week after the text, Things escalated as expected. Martinez got back to me the same day Wilson called. She's sharp. Confirmed my actions were appropriate given Candace's text. Advised document everything. Calls, texts, financial moves. I've started a detailed spreadsheet logging everything. It's strangely satisfying. Wilson's first move came Monday. Formal request for emergency temporary spousal support, plus exclusive use of our house, which she'd already abandoned. The amount? $7,500 monthly. Essentially wanted me to fund her old lifestyle, plus new housing, plus legal fees. Entitlement level. Expert. Martinez responded, countered with $1,800 temporary support based on actual needs, not lifestyle expectations. Noted she voluntarily left the home I still occupy. Highlighted her lawyers-only rule and my actions as direct consequence of her instructions. Then the personal attacks began. Candace's best friend Kelsey called Wednesday night. Answered hoping for information. Mistake. Ian, what the actual F? No, hello. Hi, Kelsey. Don't Kelsey me. Candace is sleeping on my couch. You cut her off completely. She couldn't even buy groceries yesterday. You're making her homeless. Kelsey, Candace demanded divorce via text. Lawyers only. I respected her wishes. Bullshit. You know she barely makes anything. How's she supposed to live? She's freaking out. Her social media gig brings in $1,200 cash monthly. Money she had before hiring a lawyer without talking to me. I said financial matters go through him and my lawyer. The exact process she chose. Cruel, vindictive asshole after 12 years. She was emotional. Made a mistake. Sending lawyers-only instructions is a very specific mistake. So was hiring Wilson. Silence. Then, she deserves support. You always took care of her. And would have discussed things like adults if she hadn't torched our marriage by text and lawyered up. She set the rules. We follow them now. So now I'm the villain for following explicit instructions. The story she's spinning is pure victimhood. Then Heather entered the picture. Got a Facebook message. Hope you're proud, forcing my sister to sleep on a couch while you hoard all the money. Real big man. I didn't respond, but I did screenshot it. Added to the legal file. My phone rang 20 minutes later. Heather again. Let it go to voicemail. You think you're so clever cutting her off like this? Candace gave you the best years of her life and this is how you repay her? By being a petty little man? She'll take everything in court and you know it. For someone who supposedly hates men, she sure wants her sister to keep benefiting from one. Casper came by the shop with lunch the next day. Heard anything from Wilson? Just the emergency filing. I showed him the paperwork. $7,500 a month. He nearly choked on his sandwich. Jesus Christ. That's more than most people make. Candace is used to a certain lifestyle, I said, mocking Wilson's country club tone. Yeah, one funded by your 80-hour work weeks and busted knees from those pipeline days. Casper had worked a season with me in North Dakota. Knew exactly what that life was like. Remember that Christmas you worked straight through because the company offered triple time? Candace was pissed you missed her family dinner, but sure enjoyed the spa weekend you paid for in January. Yep, I remembered that winter vividly. Minus 40 degrees, welding sections of pipeline while standing in slush. Fingers so cold they wouldn't bend properly for days afterward. Candace got a weekend at a 5-star resort. I got permanent damage in my right knee. This is why I told you to call Martinez, Casper said. She understands what guys like us go through to build something. Wilson's probably never had a callus in his life. Got a bank alert the day before. Attempted withdrawal from an old savings account we'd opened for a vacation fund years ago and completely forgotten. Had about $3,200 sitting there. Candace apparently found the debit card and tried to empty it. Bank flagged the sudden activity on the dormant account. Went directly to the branch. Explained the pending divorce. Froze the account pending legal agreement. Not about the money. It's the principle. While her lawyer screams bad faith at me, she's trying backdoor channels. Martinez says this actually helps us. Shows Candace isn't just passively waiting, but actively circumventing the process she demanded. Also getting texts from her brother Tom now. We used to be close. I taught him welding basics, helped him get his first union job. Now it's, man, why you gotta be so cold? She's family. My reply, was family. Her choice, her rules. Haven't heard back. Another relationship casualty. Waiting for the emergency support hearing date. Candace still crashing at Kelsey's. Wilson must be realizing his client expected a blank check. Not reality. Feeling less shock? More grim determination? This is going to be rough. It got dirtier. Shocking, I know. Had the emergency support hearing last week? Candace showed up looking stressed, wouldn't meet my eyes. Wilson argued she was destitute. Victimized by malicious financial cutting, Martinez calmly presented. The text initiating lawyers-only communication. Bank statements showing I canceled supplementary cards, turn allowance tied to my accounts after the text. Proof I maintained mortgage, utilities, lease payments, insurance, all major fixed costs. Evidence of her attempt to drain the forgotten joint account after demanding lawyers handle everything. Her income statements proving she wasn't destitute, just missing discretionary funds. Brian, my shop foreman who's known us both for years, came as a character witness. Testified that I'd always been transparent about finances, never controlling. That Candace had free spending, frequent girls' trips, salon visits. Brian had been with me since the early days. Remembered when the shop was just me, a TIG welder, and a beat-up truck. Watched me build everything through pure grind. Knew Candace showed up once the business was profitable. He testified about the night before a major installation, when I was sick with food poisoning but worked through it anyway, vomiting between welds, because missing the deadline would have killed our reputation. Candace had complained I was being dramatic when I got home at 3 a.m. Judge wasn't buying Wilson's theatrics. Asked Candace directly why no prior discussion before the text. She mumbled something about feeling intimidated. I almost laughed. I'm the quiet one in our relationship. Judge seemed skeptical too. At one point, Candace claimed I controlled every aspect of her life and she needed to escape. Martinez smoothly pulled out Instagram posts from 2 months ago. Candace's weekend spa trip with her friends that I'd paid for. Captioned, "Freedom weekend, thanks hubby." Yeah, I'm just the worst prison warden ever. Look at these credit card statements, Martinez directed the judge. Hair salon, $220. Clothing, $430. Dining out with friends, $380. All in 1 month. All paid by Mr. Sullivan while he drove a 10-year-old truck and worked 60-hour weeks. I noticed Candace flinch as the numbers were read. She'd always insisted those expenses were normal for a woman my age. Funny how they sounded different in a courtroom. Result? Temporary support ordered at $2,200 monthly, way closer to our figure than theirs. Enough for basics, partial legal fees, but zero funding for her old lifestyle. Judge specifically noted Candace's own actions. The text, the account drain attempt, contributed to her current situation. Dodged a bullet. But they weren't finished. Walking to my truck after court, Heather was waiting, arms crossed, designer sunglasses hiding what I assume were daggers for eyes. "This isn't over," she hissed as I walked past. "She should have left you years ago." "Funny," I replied without breaking stride. "I was just thinking the same thing about you." As I drove off, my phone pinged. Heather had tagged me in a Facebook post. "Some men think financial abuse is acceptable. Some judges enable it. The system is broken." Complete with crying emoji. Sent the screenshot to Martinez with witness intimidation? She replied, "Keep collecting these." Building the pattern. Then Tom showed up at my shop. Unannounced, during business hours. "Need to talk," he said, walking past my receptionist Jeff, who gave me the, "Should I call cops?" look. I waved him off. "Working here, Tom. Make it quick." "You're ruining her life," he said, glancing around at my employees pretending not to listen. "All she wanted was some space to figure things out. Didn't expect you'd go nuclear." "Space?" I laughed. "She hired a divorce attorney before texting me. That's not space. That's an ambush. You could still support her while you work through this." He pushed. "We are working through it. Legally. As she demanded. Support is court-ordered now. It's not enough. It's what the judge decided was fair based on actual needs, not wants. You might want to ask why your sisters planned this expecting me to keep funding everything." "Sisters?" He looked confused. "Heather's been coaching this for years. Ask Candace." He left looking troubled. One potential ally neutralized. Casper stopped by that evening with drinks and pizza. Heard about the hearing. Martinez kicked ass. She did. Candace looked shocked when the judge only gave her $2,200. "They always are," Casper said, opening drinks. "My ex demanded $12,000 a month. Judge gave her $3,200 and told her to get a job. She cried for days, according to our daughter. What pisses me off is that I would have been reasonable if she'd just talked to me," I said. Instead, she went for the ambush. "That's Heather's influence," Casper replied. "She's been telling Candace you're the enemy for years. Saw it at your anniversary party last year. The way Heather watched you, like she was cataloging evidence." He was right. Heather had been there every step, nudging Candace away from me. Small comments about my work hours. Questions about our finances that created doubt. Suggestions that other husbands gave their wives more freedom. A slow poison that Candace eagerly drank. Next week, the real game started. Dirty trick number 1. Call to my business line. Anonymous complaint to the Welding Certification Board alleging unsafe practices and code violations. Thankfully, my shop passes regular inspections with flying colors. Quick visit from inspector, walkthrough, clean bill. Clear attempt to mess with my livelihood. Low blow. Martinez noted it. Tough to prove anonymous source, but adds to pattern. Dirty trick number 2. Candace's parents called. Tears. Accusations. How could you? She's struggling. Judge unfair. Give her more money. Think of the years she gave you. Same response. Candace chose this path. Lawyers handle financials as she requested. Can't discuss. Called heartless. Hung up. Relentless emotional manipulation. They really thought I'd just keep paying forever. My response? Sticking to logic under pressure. Their tactics just clarified the situation. Simply reacting wasn't enough. Needed to proactively secure my position legally and shut down avenues for manipulation. Strictly by the book. The SUV, Martinez sent Wilson a letter. Temporary support established. Candace needs to handle the vehicle. Take over lease if qualified or return it. I stop payments next cycle. Insurance coverage, which I'd maintained, would cease concurrently. 30 days. Her problem to solve within the legal framework she created. The house, filed for formal exclusive use since she left and judge didn't grant it to her. Started valuation process for sale, Dalks buyout. Buyout unlikely given her finances. Establishing clear legal control. Asset division. Pushing for immediate full financial discovery. Suspect hidden assets. Time for transparency, legally mandated. Hiding things means trouble with the court. Documenting harassment. Logged every manipulative call, the business complaint, dates, times, summary. Martinez says pattern of bad faith tactics influences final settlement, legal fees. It's not about revenge. It's about methodically managing the situation within the legal boundaries she established, especially now that they're resorting to underhanded tactics. The business complaint crossed a line, making decisive legal countermoves essential. Candace texted me directly the day before, breaking her own rule. Ian, you can't take the SUV. How will I get anywhere? Paul, stop this. Screenshot. Sent to Martinez. Replied, Candace, per your instructions, date, all communication via lawyers. Contact Wilson. Silence. Month 4 of this disaster. The SUV situation exploded like I predicted. Quick background, it's a 2021 Ford Explorer leased in my name, about $580 a month plus insurance. Candace always drove it. I have my own F-150 for work that's paid off. The lease has another 18 months. After court-ordered temporary support was established, Martinez gave Wilson the 30-day notice about the SUV. Options were clear. 1. Candace qualifies for lease takeover and transfers everything to her name too. She returns the vehicle to me or the dealership. 3. She finds alternative transportation. Wilson responded arguing transportation necessity and demanded I continue payments indefinitely as additional support outside the court order. Martinez shut that down fast. Candace ignored the deadline completely. Kept driving the SUV, probably figured I wouldn't actually stop paying. Wrong. When the next payment date hit, I did exactly what I said. No payment. 2 weeks later, got the angry call from the leasing company. Explained the situation, told them I'm not responsible for the vehicle's current location as I don't have physical access to it. Gave them Candace's info and explained she's an unauthorized driver refusing to return the vehicle. They weren't happy. 3 days after that, Kelsey called screaming that repo men took the SUV from her driveway while Candace was at yoga. Apparently, Candace had been hiding it at Kelsey's place, thinking they wouldn't find it there. That's what happens when you ignore legal letters and court orders, I said before hanging up. An hour later, my work email got hit with a message from Heather. My sister is stranded with no transportation because of your vindictive games. Hope you feel better now, jerk. Casper stopped by that afternoon. Caught me reading Heather's email. More bullshit from the Hell Sister? Yep, the SUV got repossessed. She's losing it. He laughed. Remember when I warned you about her at your wedding? You said I was paranoid. He had. At the reception, he'd pulled me aside after seeing Heather corner Candace 3 separate times. That sister's gonna be trouble, he'd said. Way she looks at you? Like she's already planning the divorce. I'd dismissed it as drunk talk. Wilson filed another emergency motion claiming I'd stolen the vehicle. Judge shut it down immediately after Martinez showed the notification letters and court transcripts. Judge actually looked annoyed with them for wasting court time. After court, Heather was waiting again, this time with Candace, who looked away when she saw me. Heather marched right up. You think you're so clever with your lawyer and your paperwork? She snarled loud enough for others to hear. Men like you always find ways to twist the system. I looked her dead in the eyes. Unlike you, Heather, the system doesn't care about gender, just facts. She turned red. You son of a... Is there a problem here? Martinez appeared at my side, phone recording subtly in her hand. Heather stormed off, dragging Candace with her. Martinez smiled. Another exhibit for our harassment file. Candace is now Ubering everywhere, apparently, and her parents are driving her sometimes. She's telling everyone I took her transportation in a cruel move. What she doesn't mention, she refused to handle the situation properly for over a month despite multiple notices. I feel bad for the leasing company dealing with this mess. They're charging me penalties for the repossession, but Martinez says we can include those in our final settlement demands as damages directly resulting from Candace's actions. It's exhausting having to document every damn thing, but it's paying off. Every interaction just digs her hole deeper. 5 months in, the financial discovery phase has been revelatory. When we started the process, Candace submitted financial disclosures claiming she had her personal checking account with roughly $900, some clothes, personal items, and that's it. Poor victimized Candace with nothing to her name. Martinez pushed for comprehensive discovery. Bank statements going back 3 years, tax records, investment accounts, everything. Wilson fought it, claiming harassment and unnecessary burden. Judge ordered full disclosure. What turned up was interesting. A separate savings account at a credit union with $22,400. Account opened 3 years ago. Regular deposits. Cryptocurrency holdings worth about $9,800. Purchased during our marriage. Regular cash deposits to her checking account that didn't match her reported income. About $500 to $800 extra most months. Emails between Candace and Heather, spanning back 2 years, showing systematic undermining of our marriage. Some highlights. 2 years ago. Heather, he makes you ask for money like a child. That's financial abuse. Candace, it's just our budget system. I agreed to it. Heather, classic victim mentality. He's conditioned you. 18 months ago. Heather, Greg at my office got divorced and his wife got everything including his retirement. You should talk to his lawyer. Candace, we're not getting divorced. Heather, just saying know your options. Men hide money. 8 months ago. Heather, does he even know about that Nordstrom shopping trip? See, you're already hiding things because he's made you afraid. Candace, I'm not afraid, just avoiding an argument. Heather, that's fear. Normal marriages don't operate like that. 5 months ago. Heather, you need your own safety net. Start putting cash aside where he can't track it. Candace, that feels dishonest. Heather, it's not dishonest, it's self-protection. All men are financial predators. The most damning email, dated just 2 weeks before, the text. Heather, Wilson says do it exactly like we discussed. Text only, no face-to-face. Demand lawyers only communication. He'll cave within days and you'll maintain lifestyle during negotiations. Men always fold when confronted legally. Guess where that $500 to $800 extra per month was coming from? Heather's safety net contributions. The text didn't just show Heather suggesting divorce. They showed she'd orchestrated the entire ambush strategy. Wilson claimed the savings was separate property from gifts from her parents. The crypto was independent investment she'd researched herself. The cash deposits were small social media jobs, done off the books, all conveniently undocumented. Martinez methodically dismantled this. The savings account had been funded partly through transfers from our joint account before we stopped using it. Documented. The crypto was purchased using our Amazon credit card rewards points. Documented. The small jobs were never reported on taxes, raising other issues. Meanwhile, I've been in our house alone, maintaining it, documenting everything. Got it appraised, worth about $95,000 more than purchase price. Martinez filed for it to be considered a marital asset for 50-50 split, despite Candace trying to claim she contributed more through decorating. Laughable, since I did all renovations, including building the custom kitchen island she loved showing off on Instagram. Casper came over to help me change out the water heater that weekend. How's the case looking? He asked as we carried the old unit out. Better every day, I said. Heather's emails are a goldmine. Judge is gonna love them. Told you she was toxic. Casper had always been wary of Heather. Woman's got more venom than a rattlesnake farm. Candace is claiming she contributed more to the house because she picked the paint colors, I said, setting down the heater. Casper snorted. Yeah, and I invented Tesla because I drive one. She was shopping while you were installing cabinets with a separated shoulder. He remembered that weekend. I'd fallen off a ladder at work, but still finished the kitchen installation because we couldn't afford contractors. The anonymous certification board complaint came back to bite them too. My security cameras caught Heather's car driving past my shop the morning of the complaint. Direct connection. Martinez added it to our documentation of harassment. That triggered another social media blast from Heather. When a man can't win fairly, he fabricates evidence. Stay strong, sister. Right. I fabricated your Ford Edge driving by my shop 3 times. Magic powers. Throughout all this, Candace has been playing victim to anyone who'll listen. Mutual friends have been calling asking if I'm really leaving her homeless and broke. I just refer them to the court records, which are public. Few call back after actually reading them. One night, after a grueling day of depositions, I found a note taped to my workshop door. We all know what you did. Heather's handwriting, according to birthday cards stored in my filing cabinet. Security cameras caught her. Another piece for the file. I've lost some friends who took her side without question. Good riddance. The ones who've stuck around have been surprisingly supportive, especially the guys who've been through similar divorces. My brother's been solid too. Lets me vent, doesn't judge, reminds me to hit the gym and keep focused. We're approaching mediation. Martinez thinks we're in a strong position. The hidden assets, documented harassment, the lawyer's only demand, followed by direct contact, Heather's orchestration. It all paints a picture the judge has clearly noticed. Candace's victim narrative is collapsing under the weight of documentation. Update. All right, Reddit. I'm back with the final update. 7 months since the text "I want a divorce" and it's finally over. The divorce is finalized. The last 2 months were legal trench warfare. Wilson delayed. Candace played the victim, rejected reasonable offers. We were headed for a contested trial. Judge signaled clear impatience with Candace's tactics in pretrial conferences. Facing a worse outcome plus potentially paying my legal fees, Candace finally agreed to settle. But I wasn't settling for the standard package anymore. Too much had happened. Martinez and I crafted something special for this situation. Final settlement. I kept the house by buying Candace's half at 15% below market value, justified by her hidden assets and harassment. My business remained 100% mine, with her contribution claims completely dismissed. All hidden assets were declared marital property, with a 65-35 split favoring me as penalty for concealment. Her SUV lease was terminated with $4,800 in fees and penalties assigned solely to her. She got zero spousal support due to her hidden income, deliberate planning, and bad faith tactics. She's responsible for 40% of my legal fees on top of her own. And most satisfyingly, a 3-year restraining order against Heather prevents her from contacting me or coming near my business and residence. Martinez's masterstroke using the documented harassment pattern. The day after the judge approved everything, Candace showed up at my workshop. Jeff called me to the front. She looked terrible. Dark circles, weight loss, designer clothes replaced by Target basics. Can we talk? Please? Her voice cracked. The settlement is destroying me. I can't afford my apartment. My credit is ruined. Should have thought about consequences before the ambush divorce. Heather convinced me that I'd fold and fund your new single life? Yeah, we saw the emails. I'll lose my apartment, she sobbed. Not my problem anymore. We were married for 12 years, and you ended it with less consideration than canceling a magazine subscription. She touched my arm. I still love you. I laughed. No, you love what I provided. I nodded toward the door. You need to leave. Where am I supposed to go? I hear Heather has a spare room. This isn't you. You're not this cold. I adapted to the rules you set. Turns out I'm pretty good at them. As she turned to leave, I added, by the way, those emails where Heather called me financially abusive while helping you hide money, all part of the court record, public document, your friends can read them anytime. The look of horror on her face was worth every penny of legal fees. The aftermath. Candace is living with her parents now. Her social accounts went dark after several friends discovered the truth in the court records. Heather got demoted at work. Turns out falsely reporting a certified business to regulatory authorities has consequences. The restraining order means she can't even drive past my shop or house. Candace texts periodically despite the settlement terms. Last one. I lost everything because of a stupid mistake. Please help me. I don't reply. The only response is the automatic transfer from her account to mine for the legal fees she owes. Monthly reminder of the price of betrayal. Tom came by the shop last week. Awkward at first, but he'd read the court documents. I had no idea what they were planning, he said. Man, I'm sorry. We're slowly rebuilding that friendship. He's the only one from her family worth keeping. Casper brought drinks to celebrate when the final paperwork came through. We sat in my garage workshop, the same place I'd been the night I got the text. Remember when you were just starting out? He asked. Working pipeline during the day? Setting up the shop at night? Candace complained you never took her anywhere nice. I nodded. Those early years were brutal. 80-hour weeks split between the day job and building the business. Candace had been constantly comparing our lifestyle to her friends' marriages. Never mind that those guys were 10 years older with established careers. You built something real, Casper said, gesturing around the shop. Something solid. She never appreciated what that took. He was right. Me? 7 brutal months. Expensive. Stressful. But I'm good. Better, actually. Business is growing. Bought a Harley last month. Something Candace always vetoed as too dangerous and midlife crisis-ish. Take it out every weekend. Feels damn good. No dramatic revenge, just steady, grinding consequences of her choices meeting logical, legal resistance. The fact that she's broke and living with her disappointed parents while watching me thrive is justice I couldn't have designed better myself. She wanted formal and legal? She got it, with all the cold reality that entails. In the words of my shop sign, measure twice, cut once. She measured wrong, and the cut was permanent.